Guys, can you hear me?
Yes, Mike. Mike Cash, how you doing?
Yeah. Doing all right. Doing good. How you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
You are a podcaster, and your show is the Hanzai Podcast, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
True crime stories from Japan.
Oh man.
Yes.
How does true crime stories in Japan differ from like U.S. on the most part?
Well, we don't have guns over here like you do there.
That's what I thought. That's one thing I thought.
Yeah. They have to satisfy themselves with stabbings and beating each other with clubs and shit like that.
It's just a lot more violent.
A lot more bludgeoning. Probably
a
Mutilation
lot
is
scarier.
A lot of dismembering.
mutilation as well, right?
Yeah, there's a fairly good bit of that. People have to
Slaver's
get
got
rid
a
of bodies,
boner.
so you got to cut them up to haul them off.
You gotta conceal it.
Yeah, I'd
What
rather be shot.
But you're from the States, right, Mike?
Yes, I'm from Tennessee.
And you're now in Japan, though, correct?
Yes, that's right.
What brought you to that? Was it work? Was it fascination? Like what led you to that?
Oh, I joined the Navy when I got out of high school, so then I got stationed to a ship that's over here, and then just seemed to never really get back,
Do you prefer it? Like, do they look like how? I know in some countries, like, we're looked down on for being American. Like, is it like that, or are they just cool with you?
No, I don't have any problems with it myself, actually.
Wow.
Some people do, some people don't,
Yeah. Do you speak Japanese?
Yeah, I have to, for living. Well, you don't have to. Lots of people live here that don't. They never learn anything, but
Just to get away with,
Yeah.
just to get by, I would think you would have to speak.
Is it,
you would think so, but there's people that don't.
Wow.
how hard is it to learn? Is it hard or is it easy to learn?
I never found it all that difficult, really. It's just a matter of what environment you put yourself in, I think. A lot of the people who come here as English teachers or maybe computer professionals, things like that, they work in places where they use English at work.
Yes.
And the people around them speak English, so they're never really challenged or pushed to have to communicate.
Yeah, one of my
in
friends
Japanese.
years ago, he graduated college, and one of the first jobs he got was going to Japan and teaching English.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've heard that that they a lot of times they want to speak English to you because
That's what I was gonna ask. If a lot of Japanese people have English as a second language.
Not many, no. They put a lot of time, money, and effort into the English education, but they don't get much out of it.
Wow.
Oh wow.
In general.
what is-
There's a few people who do really well, then there's 99% of people who couldn't give a shit less.
I was going to say, what was the craziest, worst interpretation of English you've heard? What's the craziest thing someone said to you that just doesn't make sense?
Oh, what thing said to me, I saw in a magazine once, there was a article written by a doctor who was talking about an AIDS carrier, and it's a borrowed word from English. He thought he mistook carrier as career, so he thought it was AIDS career, and he's like, I thought, yeah, it is a lifelong, thing you do.
It pays off. Trust me, it pays a lot.
Carrier to go.
Lot of yen in AIDS. Lot of yen
all
to
your
be had.
bases, all your bases ours.
Yeah.
So if you are an
Well,
AIDS carrier,
You are wealthy and manly.
Well, see, that's actually the hardest thing is that Japanese has borrowed a lot of words from English, and you would think, oh, cool, I'll understand those, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, they use them in a different way, with a different meaning or a different nuance, and so you think you're understanding what they're saying, and they think you understand because they think it's originally English, and you're just talking right past each other. So
Wow.
sometimes it's easier if they don't use English words mixed in with Japanese.
Yes. Yeah, because that'll cause the interpretation to be off. Wow.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, could you say in Japanese? Could you say, "This is my cash," and you're listening to the Rob and Slim Show?
Yeah. じゃあこちらはキャッシュマイケルと申します。今現在ロブとスリムの番組を聞いていただいています。
Wow.
That was
Wow. Oh my God, that was amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, You can't hear the Tennessee accent when I speak Japanese, can you?
I was just gonna
I
say,
did hear it.
wow.
I did. I
You
did
heard
hear
it.
it.
I was like, wow.
Do they like the accent at all?
I was gonna
Does
say.
anybody like ever? Did they ever insult or like compliment the accent?
I think it would make you like exotic, like the Tennessee accent.
No. Because if you have a really strong foreign accent, it makes it really hard for people here to understand you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you have like a really strong American accent or British accent to your Japanese speaking, people just look at you like, "What language are you speaking?" They don't even recognize it as Japanese.
So have you kind of forced yourself to try to drop the accent?
Yeah. I decided a long time ago. I thought, I'll never be able to have exactly perfect Japanese for grammar or the way I express things. But I thought I really don't want to have one of those like Hendrik Kissinger accents that are like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's been in America for 50 years and he still can't speak English without the accent.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
So I decided I would try to control the accent down and leave the other errors in there.
Yeah. That's awesome. That is awesome. What I listened to Mike the episode Sushi, was it Milk and Sushi?
Yeah, Milk and Sushi, give them the runs. Yeah.
That was crazy. What was it? A businessman, right? Who he was on the way to take money out, right? And didn't he just go disappear? Didn't he just go missing right there?
Yeah, we used to get our payroll here. They would pay you in cash. I mean, they were still doing that into the 90s, actually.
Wow.
We get paid like once a month, and they just hand you an envelope with your pay in it.
Wow.
So I think that story happened back in 1940 something.
Yeah.
Just after the war. Just after the war. So yeah, the guy who used to work in the payroll section of that company was stealing money and embezzling and got fired. And then later on, he decided to double dip. So he knew when the guy was going to go to the bank to get the payroll.
Yes.
So he just followed him to the bank and said, "Oh man, I want to talk to you about paying back what I stole. Can you come to this place and we'll talk about it." And then they doped his milk and dragged him off and killed him. And kept the payroll.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's grisly.
Yeah.
That is grisly.
Yeah, isn't it mean?
Yeah.
And then they blew the money in like a month and a half or something like that.
Yes.
And they have
Just totally pissed it away.
And they have like a mafia over there too, like the Yakuza.
Yeah, they have the Yakuza here, but they're businessmen.
That's what happened with the Italians
they're
over
all
here.
about making a damn profit. They got their own little culture thing going to being badass and to one another and all that.
Yeah.
But as far as like an average person on a day-to-day basis, they're no presence at all. You never see them or notice them or anything like that. They stick to annoying one another.
Okay, they do exist, but they're just not, like you said.
They're not as prominent.
It's like the same
It's
thing.
not something you're scared of when you're walking down the street.
Oh no. As an average normal person, a straight, not involved in that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
No, they're no threat. They're not a menace, to put it that way.
Cool. And what do you do for work now, Mike?
I'm a truck driver.
What are you hauling?
Right now I'm hauling air. I just got done loading a bunch of plastic pellets, and I'm taking a container back down to the port right now. Give that back and get a different one. It's. I decided I'd rather do this than work for a living, So.
What is your favorite of the Japanese culture, like food-wise? Like, what is one thing like that we don't have over here that you just love out there?
I don't know what you don't have there anymore, actually.
That's true. We have a lot.
You guys, and so I'm from like Tennessee, where we had nothing, and you guys are up there in Jersey, and you got more stuff, now. Of course, you have ramen, but I guess for you that's like the ramen noodles and the 25-cent pack that college kids eat or something like that.
Yeah.
Whereas here we have the ramen restaurants or
yes.
It's kind of like the pho. We're getting the faux stuff now.
That's what I've heard about, like
Vietnam,
Chinese food.
yeah.
I've heard too, like if you have Chinese food here, it's not like actual like Chinese food, like if you went to China.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, like actually the ramen and stuff, that's Chinese food. If you ask a lot of Japanese people, what's your favorite Japanese food? They'll name shit that all came from China.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Ramen came from China. Gyoza came from China. Curried rice is really popular. That came from India.
Yes.
It makes sense because like I've been to both Japanese restaurants and Chinese restaurants, and it's the same food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They both have
that definitely
sushi.
happens.
Yeah. I like those sodas, and now you get them at like Five Below. I used to get them on Amazon. The ones with the marble in the cap.
Oh yeah.
Right. We just know them as Japanese sodas.
Yeah. They're cool.
You know, for the longest time, I used to wonder how the hell they got the marble and stuff in there.
Yes.
And then I realized, well, it's not that difficult because just the cap is on there with a left-hand thread. So you just turn the cap the other way, you can get the marble out.
I never realized that. Wow, because I was wondering if you could get the marble out.
Yeah, they got the damn thing in there, you know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, next time you see one of those, when you get finished drinking it, just twist the cap the wrong direction. You can get the cap off, take the marble out.
Wow. I had no idea. No idea.
Do you drink a lot of sake?
Oh, that's
No, I don't really get to drink much at all because from a few years ago, we have alcohol checks twice a day. Once before you go to work and once when you get done. So I got to go in and blow through a straw just like I'd been caught for a DUI or something, even though I haven't.
Wow, why was that put into practice?
Because lots of guys go to work drunk or drink at work.
Wow.
So you don't drink sake, but do they drink a lot of sake in Japan?
A lot of guys drink.
Yeah, that, beer. Actually, sake consumption I saw the other day is going down.
Really?
I think it's
They're
like
all
a
drinking
cultural
whiskey.
thing. A lot of more people say they drink it or say they like it than actually do.
Yeah.
Because I was checking the numbers. They were doing a survey on consumption between different age groups and male and female, and then they asked people their perceptions of it and do you want to drink it? Do you like it? Stuff like that. And the numbers just did not match up.
Yeah.
There's a cultural perception, a self-cultural image, like, oh, I'm Japanese, so I have to like sushi and I have to drink sake and I have to do this and I have to do. That's like if you're an American, oh, you got to drink Budweiser and eat a hamburger. You know?
Right.
What if you don't like Budweiser and hamburgers?
Right.
Do you feel less American? And Japanese get like this really strong self-image thing going, like, oh, I'm Japanese, I guess I better say I like this or like that. And so the sales numbers and the self-reported surveys of what drinking sake and stuff just did not match up at all. The numbers.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's interesting. I was thinking about is like me and Slambo graduated high school together, and we hung out with all like the nerdier crowd that were all into like anime, and these girls, Slambo would call them the weeaboos, and these girls that were obsessed with like Japanese culture, so they were always like, oh, we drink like sake, and we're eating pocky all the time, and it's like it just seems.
No, you're just making yourself look like a retard.
Right. So it also makes me wonder, are there people in Japan that are Japanese that are like, oh, I'm drinking a Budweiser because it's like cool to drink like American stuff?
What we get from those is like, oh, I'm riding a Harley.
Oh, okay.
Riding a Harley, I'm eating
I never saw so damn many Harley Davidsons till I came to Japan.
Really? Wow. We must
When I
make
was a
bank
kid
off
in the U.S.,
that.
I like never saw the damn thing.
Wow.
Never.
I always
come
thought
over here and like every middle-aged guy has got a Harley.
They're expensive over here,
Dude, I
but
always thought that
over
was-
there they gotta be like
Yeah,
a
man, I always
ridiculous
thought they were
markup.
more into like the crotch rockets, like the Suzuki,
No,
the Hayabusas.
But yeah, most people are. But there's a lot of people who like really like that Easy Rider image, the biker, the traditional Harley looking. So it's
The
like
American
Japanese
biker.
middle-aged guy, American cosplay.
Yeah.
I ride a motorcycle too, and I go out riding with my buddies sometimes. We'll pull into like a rest area or something, and there'll be like a dozen Harleys with the guys all got their their gear on, their Harley stuff.
They grow their beards out.
Aren't you
too?
afraid of them? I said, nah, man. There's no harm in 100 of them. They're just doing cosplay. They're just dressed up like bikers.
American.
Scary thing on earth. Yeah.
Do they all like grow their beards out too?
No, very few of them have the liberty to do that. Because they got to go do work from Monday to Friday or whatever. And
Yeah.
not a lot of guys have beards here.
Mike, I want to ask you, what's the craziest case you've covered on your show?
I've not covered that many. I've only started the thing about a month and a half ago.
Wow.
Is that it? Wow.
And yeah. So I can't decide whether I like the historical cases more or like the current
There's
news cases that I do.
That's what I was gonna ask, because you go back, like you said, the other story was in the 40s. Like you go back,
dude. There's a couple of serial killers like over there, like within like recent, like 20, 30 years that are like really.
Oh yeah.
Brutal
Really?
times in Japan. Yeah.
Oh, I just the episode I put out just 10 or 12 hours ago. The news for the last week. There was a guy, 3 victims, so he counts as a serial killer. Down in Kawasaki City, was just sentenced to death, and he was a guy 25 years old, I believe he was, who worked as a caregiver in a nursing home, and he threw 3 old people just off the damn balcony out the window.
Wow.
And they were like in the 80, I think from 86 to like 96 years old. The victims were over a 2-month period.
Wow.
Chucked them out the fucking window. Boom.
How do you get them up? How do you, like, that's dead weight. Like, how do you even like do that?
Yeah.
I can't imagine. It's just like,
Down.
why? What the hell for? I mean, they might believe, they went outside and, suicide, jumped out and killed themselves. There's pretty high suicide rate here, but
Yeah.
You're still on camera from like every angle, like you are over here, like.
All right.
Like there's.
I got one angle.
I mean, like in a public place, how they have like the security cameras everywhere. Like.
Do they?
I don't think there's that many of them.
Really?
They'll be on the outside of like convenience stores, maybe banks or gas stations, something like that. Because I sometimes watch the programs here where they'll have people go around. The police, they'll follow the police around for like 24 hours or something, and they'll be investigating a hit and run crime, something like that. And the detectives have to go around to all the businesses. They go around and look for cameras and see if they can get the video from the merchants, the business owners or whatever.
Yeah.
But cameras that are operated like by the government, by the police or something like that, there's like very few of those.
Oh wow. So you lied, Sambo.
Yeah, they believe also very strongly that they are very crime free. They believe that about themselves. That's part of their self image.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I remember,
but they got 250,000 cops though.
I remember being on Reddit. I just talking about like Japanese crime and stuff. I remember being on Reddit once, which is like the worst place on the internet. But there was like a thread on what's the darkest thing you've ever read on the internet, and one of them directed to this Japanese story of a Japanese crime where these boys like kidnapped this girl and just fucking tortured her for like months. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. The details.
I know exactly the one you're talking about.
Really gruesome. Like it was horrifying.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, this went on for a while. When they got done with her, they finally killed her, put her in a 55-gallon drum, filled it with the concrete, and left it out in a vacant lot somewhere. Yeah.
It was brutal. Like,
wow.
Just like I'm kind of like remembering some of the stuff I read, and it's like making me cringe just thinking about it. It was fucking rough.
The thing is
that one you plan on covering in your podcast?
I probably won't, because I've heard a couple of podcasts in English that have done that.
Yeah.
Oh,
And what I'm trying really hard to do is I'm trying not to do anything that is already available in English anywhere.
Oh, so
cool.
Okay, that's awesome.
Super cool.
That's the niche I'm looking at, because there's like a million true crime podcasts out there.
Yes, there is, and I feel you have an
can't
advantage.
compete with them.
But I feel you have an advantage speaking Japanese and getting stories over that.
Yeah, that's my only advantage. I can read this shit. I can I read up and I look back through old documents and stuff like that to find the information.
Yes.
And so I want to get the stories that even like the news stories I'm doing. I'll look at ones that I think, that's probably going to be in the English papers. That's probably going to be covered in English somewhere. So yeah, screw that. I'm not doing that one. I go for the little stuff, the weird stuff that will never make it into English otherwise.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like the crime rate. I have read that it's like so low over there.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually, like, so when there actually is like a major crime, it's
Then it's
usually
a big deal.
it's usually pretty intense, because like the petty crime there is like you said, it's pretty low.
Yeah.
So when they do
What do police officers say? Are guns allowed for them over there?
Oh yeah. Since about '94, I think they all started carrying pistols. Before that, only some of them carried some of the time.
Okay, because I was wondering. I know in England, don't they use like beanbag type projectiles?
Yeah. Are they allowed to hunt over there? Like, is there any like people that maybe deer hunting.
More people who have rifles and shotguns and stuff. And there have been times in the past, to give you an idea how underarmed the police are here, there have been times where like a lion would escape from a zoo or from a circus or something like that, and they would have to go out and hunt the thing down, and the cops would have to contact the local hunters because they were the only ones that had a rifle that could shoot the damn thing. The cops didn't have rifles.
Oh my God, that is...
All they had was 38 caliber pistols or whatever. So they had nothing that could take down a bear or a lion, so they'd have to call the hunters with a 30-30 or a 30-06 to come out and take care of it for them.
What do they hunt over there, by the way? Like, I've always wondered.
Deer, bear, boar, wild boar.
I've taken down.
Slambo hunts boars. I didn't know. That's why I didn't know. I didn't know if they had the same animals out there.
Yeah, I know they have.
Deer's pretty much the same, I guess.
Wow.
Do you have blue ring octopus?
Blue ring what?
Octopus.
Blue ring octopus.
That is one of our favorite animals of the night.
It's like a Pokemon.
Yeah. I doubt you're going to find that on land or find a rifle very useful for catching one. Though.
That is Slambo said it's like a Pokemon. Do you have Pokemon in Japan?
I was going to say, are there actual wild Pokemon?
We had a problem when the Pokemon Go thing came out. It was a problem, man, because like even on the expressways, people were stopping their damn cars.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Like it was always bigger in Japan, and it was big. Like the Pokemon Go was big here.
That was huge here.
I got one more question about wildlife over there.
All right.
Are there any raccoons over there?
Yeah, there are.
Why did you ask that?
I was just wondering.
Like, is there some kind of belief that there's no raccoons in Japan?
Oh, no. They're from North America.
Are there chipmunks?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got bluegill over here too, and bass.
Sweet.
You got cats and dogs,
Well,
dinosaurs,
and relish.
No, dinosaurs live in the Congo.
There are invasive species which not native to Japan, which have been released here and caught on. So we have raccoons. There's some raccoons and then there's like the native raccoon style animal called a tanuki, which isn't exactly a raccoon, but they call it a raccoon dog. It's neither raccoon nor dog.
It's a Pokemon.
Yeah. Mike.
Well, we had a problem down at I'm going to the port down in Tokyo from now, and there was a problem a couple of years ago. They had put signs up out by the road that says, if you're looking for Pokemon Go, stay your ass out of here. This is the dock area. Trains, trucks and shit running around. You can't walk in here trying to catch your Pokemon. Stay out.
That's awesome. Mike, we have to wrap this up, dude, but thank you so much for talking to us.
Hey, thanks so much for the chance to call in and talk to you. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for talking to us, man. Where can everybody find you?
On Twitter at Hanzai Podcast, or just look for Hanzai Podcast on Google. You can find me, or I'll be on the forums at www.jref.com. Look on the forums there, and I'm around.
Awesome.
Wait, before you go, I got one more question. What is Hanzai?
Sure.
What does Hanzai mean?
Oh, yeah. What does the word Hanzai mean?
Oh, crime.
All right, cool. It did kill me all night.
I wanted something that was short and pronounceable.
I had it in my questions too, and I just didn't get to it. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Take care, Mike. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you, Mike.
Bye-bye.
Later.
Cool.
I knew raccoons were ubiquitous. They're evil. They're taking over.